If you have a government that can shut down your bank account when you criticize a politician or criticize a policy, that government has a license for any atrocity, because you can silence 99.99% of people if they know you're going to shut off the heat in your home, your bank account, all of these things. If you say the wrong thing, the only path out, the most obvious path out is blockchain.
I think, honestly, the Fed's time has come to go. What I think is going to happen is the currencies at risk right now do not include the dollar.
More global.
It is the emerging market currencies, which I don't know if you've been watching, but the devaluations taking place around the world, again, our monetary policy, I believe, is causing that. The dollar going up. The Nigerian naira is down 50 to 60% since last June. The Egyptian pound devalued by 40% in March. Think about this.
What's up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm just making it back from Consensus taking place in Austin, Texas. First and foremost, I want to apologize for my voice. It's completely gone. I am recovering, and I'm going to have more interviews coming out over the course of the coming days. This was one of the best experiences I've had so far at a crypto-based conference, and I want to give you guys a quick recap as to what I experienced, how Cardano was represented, and then there's a couple of sound bites that I want to play for you guys here, highlighting what Bitcoin is, what crypto is, and what I believe will be a new age force moving forward in the future. That said, let's go ahead and just quickly recap the event here. So I left late last week to drive over to Austin, and I was greeted and hosted by a friend at the actual event. Now, jumping into actually how the event was formatted and how big it was, there was over 15,000 people there in attendance. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the biggest or the biggest US-based crypto event there. We've got a DeLorean. I believe this is the actual original from the movie Back to the Future. If you guys have seen that, that was really cool to see there. We've got the Capitol there in Austin. And we got RFK here, who actually spoke on the very last day, drawing one of the biggest crowds there. So he was basically the close to a really, really awesome event. Now, we also heard from Cathie Wood, who's a traditional or TradFi investor. I believe she's actually the head of ARK Invest. And they're obviously now getting bigger into the crypto space. And so to see more and more people, that typically are associated with Web2 or just politics, attending something like Consensus 2024 was really, really awesome to see. I think it was a major breakthrough and a huge milestone. Now, I want to quickly just play two videos here. The first is a recap of day number 3 at the event here. And then I'll jump into the brief clip by Cathie Wood. And then I want to talk about Cardano, how it was represented, some of the teams that were there in attendance, and my interactions with some of those. So without any further ado, let's play the first clip here. Again, this is a recap of day number 3.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Consensus. We love Consensus.
Consensus is forward-thinking, optimistic, and pragmatic. Now that we just won the Pitch Fest competition, we're going to take all these amazing relationships that we made here at Consensus and start building on them.
The next piece I want to break down here is coming in from Cathie Wood, talking about how Bitcoin is now going to be a new asset class. And as a person who deals with financial tools and financial platforms, that it's their duty to invest in such early stage assets in order to maximize risk, but then to make sure they're abiding by their fiduciary expectations, for lack of better words?
This is a new asset class. Bitcoin is a new asset class. It's a monetary system to be sure, but it also represents a new asset class. And what that means in our world is that as a fiduciary, someone looking after portfolios for people, a fiduciary has to consider a new asset class because of the low correlation with other assets in terms of returns and risk. And so if you add Bitcoin to an existing portfolio, if that is right, and this is low correlation asset, what that means is over time, returns per unit of risk will go up. So if one platform has Bitcoin and offers that opportunity of diversification and higher risk-adjusted returns, and another doesn't, then they're going to have a problem if this one's right.
So quite the takeaway there. Her highlighting the fact that if more and more people are adopting Bitcoin and the minority, which are accepting Bitcoin, end up being right, that from a investor standpoint, those that haven't taken the opportunity to invest in Bitcoin would obviously be feeling a lot of pain. And so again, I think that's why we've seen the recent approval of the Bitcoin spot ETF, giving exposure to just the everyday or the average person. But then there's also now been the approval of the ETH ETF. Now I'm going to be talking about the FIT21 bill, which was recently denied by President Joe Biden. And this was basically going to open up the path forward to more regulatory clarity, specifically with ETH and a bunch of other crypto-based assets, right? So right now, I believe we've got Bitcoin and now ETH being noted as commodities, while there still isn't a lot of regulation in terms of the rest of the ecosystem, which hopefully FIT21 could have fixed. But as of right now, it seems like that's not the case. Now, I'm going to be dropping more content surrounding that. I'm going to be keeping up with a lot more of the political moves, especially as the US-based campaign is gearing up here. We've got the presidential election with President Joe Biden. We've got Donald Trump, and we've also got RFK, who attended the consensus event. Now, that's just sort of the brief overview. Again, I had a blast there, was able to sit down with the Cornucopias game. They're always at these events here. They had a pretty big booth, one of the more active booths. We also saw the Book.io team. They didn't have a booth, but I did get to meet with Josh Stone and Ben Illian. I met Simon, Noah, and Matias from Cerberus. I also got to meet Ryan, Charles, and Emmanuel from the World Mobile team. I got to meet Bart and Dikemba from Genius Yield. Hosky was there. JPEG Store. We had Travis Bailey and Martine, who were also there representing. We had the Indigo team with Eric Coley, the founder, in attendance. And then we had Damon from Charlie 3. And I think that's really sort of it there. Now, there's tons of alpha that's going to be dropping here on the channel. I think my favorite one actually being an interview with the Emergo team. So I got to sit down with Amar Singh, who's a part of Emergo, to talk a little bit more about liquidity, stable coins, and what we can expect to be coming to Cardano in terms of bigger and major partnerships. We've already seen the partnership with Huawei. We've already seen an additional partnership with GSR for liquidity, but this is just the very tip of the iceberg. So make sure to go ahead and stick around. That's going to be, I think, one of the biggest interviews that I've done here in a while. And hopefully you guys are able to get a lot of alpha from that particular bit of content. As always, I got an opportunity to sit down next. She shoot a Cornucopias Copy Cath 8. That should be released hopefully within the next couple of days here, highlighting the team's experience at Consensus. We also talked about just how Cornucopias has been doing overall. We also highlighted their file nodes, and I got to sit down with Tobias, who's one of their in-game map developers. So very, very laid back guy, super cool. Unfortunately, wasn't able to see David, their main developer, but it was really good to catch up with the rest of the team. So shout out to Chase, shout out to Scruffy, shout out to Josh from Late Game Crypto, again, Rob and Josh, Matt, Ben, anybody else who was actually there, so shout out to that entire team. They've always been such a cool team to hang out with. And I was actually nice enough to catch one of the final dinners at Consensus with the actual Cornucopias team. Now, throughout the actual event, we also saw Cardano being represented through the Rare Evo network. So for those of you guys who aren't aware, Rare Evo basically hosts a lot of socials. They started off by just dealing with the Cardano community with Rare Evo, and that's now grown to the Rare Network. So they've also attended other events, for example, like some in Singapore. They attended some in Paris. Obviously, the one that just happened in Consensus, and they're going to be attending the Cardano Summit, but they've also got their own event, which will be held in Vegas at Caesar's Palace this coming, I want to say it is October or September. So don't quote me on that, but I have talked about Rare Evo. I'll probably release more content surrounding that there as well. So shout out to Wes, shout out to Rand, Devrin, Wurs, the entire team there, putting on such a wonderful time for everybody to get together, communicate, and really enjoy themselves at Rare Evo. Now, we also saw Big Pay, fellow content creator, with Atrium also hosting a follow-up social for Cardano-based community members. That was a really awesome opportunity to network. And I was actually able to sit down and talk with Christian from the Noon team, who I do also plan on bringing here on the channel in the next couple of weeks. Now, that said, in just terms of general Cardano updates, there's been a lot going on here on Twitter. I've got some catching up to do. Again, I apologize for my voice. As things heal up, I'll make sure to get as much content out here as possible. So we've got the official release of Ouroboros Leos, which is now on the way. This will improve scalability and throughput here on Cardano, essentially fixing the blockchain trilemma. We also have the Cardano Constitution and multiple workshops beginning to finally crop up. I will have more content surrounding governance and SIP number 1694 coming over in the next couple of days. And then we just have a lot of different updates for specific protocols. So make sure to stay tuned here. Again, this is just a quick update for you guys to talk a little bit about my experience at Consensus and what I expect to be coming out of this moving forward. Personally, I think there's going to be a lot more lax of an attitude towards blockchain and crypto. And of course, as we get more bills that do pass, right, that should hopefully lessen the burden or lessen the risk for anybody looking to step into this brand new space. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break for the rest of the night tonight. I'm going to go ahead and start editing, but make sure you've got those bell notifications turned on, as some of those interviews will be dropping within the next 24 to 48 hours. That will do it here. Just a brief update. Again, I'm back. Hopefully you guys have had a wonderful weekend. I definitely have. And I look forward to getting back on the YouTube game and getting all of my content out. That will do it for today's update here. Again, I appreciate you all tuning in. If you made it to the end of today's video, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, breaking down Cardano and all the latest blockchain-based events, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me surrounding Consensus or Cardano, then make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.